Gonna help your kids out. Got a buddy, DT. Some of you know him. If you tune into the Older Brother podcast, you know that he is the somewhat semi-regular co-host of the show. So he paid off his house about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and there's great celebration and joy. And he's got 2 little kids. And they were thinking about moving. His wife got a job offer elsewhere in the metro, and they were thinking about going off to the west side, and da-da-da-da-da. Maybe they'd get, the house is paid off, maybe they'd get a summer home for the kids to play in. And well, that all went to pot because the job that the wife got was a complete lie, as is per usual when you work for baby boomer bosses. But that never materialized, and so they were back to living in their starter home. And so the kids had been in there. I've known this family for 5-6 years now, so I've seen the kids go from like little 5 and 6 years old, and now they're kids, actual kids, not toddlers, but 11 and 12. And so we're sitting there and talking, and I said, why would you, I know you call this your starter home, but the kids only got another 6-7 years left before they leave the house. And then you and the missus would have to downsize anyway. And so then it dawned on me, well, why do most people have a starter home, go to a bigger home for the family home, and then the couple, when the kids are out of the house, the empty nesters, downsize? Wouldn't it be wiser just to hold on to the starter home, make do, put in bunk beds, and then when the kids move out, you clear out the bunk bed, you got a little living room, and then you have a house not only completely paid off, but probably have been living in it mortgage-free for quite some time. And I realized that this is important. I hit on something here like I do because I am a super awesome economic genius. Like many years ago when I said that you should allow students to deduct their student loan repayments as part of a 401k plan, they could do it. And now they're doing it 15 years later after I recommended it. So I think this is something that you might want to consider and think about. Your kids are transitory. Unless you're going to raise them like millennials, in which case they'll always live at home forever. But let's just say you're on my team here. You tune into the Clarity podcast, you listen to the Asshole Consulting channel, and you're going to raise your kids to actually be self-supporting adults. So they're going to go. And I'm wondering, well, look, can't you just pull a Gen Xer? Can't you just pull a World War II generation? Can't you just pull even, dare I say, the baby boomers where, we had bunk beds. You shared a room. Unless you're having 4 or 5 kids, but if you're having 2, maybe 3, you should be able to fit the kids into your starter home. Right? And besides which, home is just a place to sleep. That's not where excitement or activity is. And so it dawned on me that you would save a lot of money and a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of hassle, a lot of realtor fees if your starter home was your permanent home, your only home. Now I know there are some external factors that will influence and affect the value of your home. I mean, if your perfect example would be any major metro area, if you bought a starter home in the inner ring suburbs of any major metro, that is likely turning into a ghetto or a barrio or a trailer park by now. The property taxes have gone up. All the liberals and the communists have moved out from the major metro area. Well, they didn't really move. There's just more of them. And so now your property taxes have become untenable. They're not really worth it, so it probably would have been worth moving out. You probably want your kids to go to better schools. You don't want your kids to go to schools where the other children have been raised by single mothers or single fathers or foster kids, and there's no discipline, and they're not, your kids got to worry about, 1, not getting their education, or 2, constantly getting in fights, or 3, teachers getting stabbed. But these things aside, this is merely a financial question, an investment in real estate question. What if you could stay in your home? And 18 years goes by like that. A lot of people think, their children will be a long time from. Well, I know a little rug rat that was 6. Now it's 18. It's still in my mind. That goes by fast. And if you just held on to that one house, you should have it paid off by now. And then you don't have to. We got to downsize. Only thing I could say, another external thing, is like up here in the Twin Cities where it's cold as hell, where you want to sell your house and move down south. That I could see downsizing and uprooting and going away. But something to consider going forward with your financial planning. If you buy the right house in the right town, you don't have to worry about it losing value or having the taxes jacked up by imported liberals and socialists. It's in a stable, maybe you buy way out in the exurbs and then it builds up and your property values go up and it's still a relatively Republican place. It would hold still. But consider that. Consider if you're going to stay put, if you like where you are now and you haven't had kids, you're like, let's get a starter home. There should not be the concept of a starter home. It should be the permanent home. Kids may have to make do. They may have to make do with sharing a room. But worse things have happened. First world problems. You liberals, you communists, you like saying that. First world problems? First world problems. Maybe your kids could share. And then you don't have to constantly, and think about all the environmentalism that you'd help save. You know how much greenhouse gases it takes to build and haul the lumber and make the rivets and all that? What if you just stayed in your starter home? And that would be your retirement home. Make things a lot easier. Save. God, I bet you I'd save you around 50 grand. Easy 50 grand. Well, way more. No, now I think about all the unnecessary interest expense you piss away on having your McMansions. Oh, that would save easily $100,000 to $200,000 over the course of your life. And if you sock that money away instead in your 401k or IRA, you'd easily have a retirement bought and paid for. So, all right. Anyway, just something I consider, because I remember bunk back. I remember sleeping on a mattress on the floor. We had a mattress, thank God. But I do remember bunk beds. I do remember sharing rooms, and I do remember you could get by rather cheaply with that. And I do the math correctly. And then once the kids are gone, it's like, wow, you got a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. I guess I might even be too big for empty nesters. All right, well, everybody should ignore my advice like you always do. Whatever you do, don't buy Poor Richard's Retirement. Everybody's Guide to Retirement Planning. What was the subtitle of that? Retirement for Everyday Americans, that's what it was. Don't read Bachelor Pad Economics. Oh, Christ, no, don't read that. And whatever you do, don't read Worthless. That's the last book young people should read before they go to college is Worthless. My God, don't waste your time. All right, we'll see you all later. Toodles.